Hey, Corrie here, coming into to do my weekly channel message. I am not in my office, so we have some real poor video happening. I'm sitting in a hotel room, and but I wanted to get this out. I'm sitting home working in the city this week, and so teaching some healing and doing some amazing work with some incredible people. Yay! There's a lot of energy. There's a lot of things that are shifting. So energy forecast reading, here we go. Let's see what's happening. Let's see what we got going on. Well, as of sometime this morning, there was a massive solar flare. And so that ultimately always affects us. It's a shift in energy, but we also have some energy shifts that were just bound to happen based in the alignment of the planets. And of course, I'm not an astrologer. Remember, this is taken as entertainment. I'm just reading through the energy and what is coming up. So let me just channel in even farther. It was like this urgency to record this. And even though I fought this all the evening, I'm not doing this, not recording this. I don't want to do this. I'm too tired. I've just been working so much. But here we are. And so you may find yourself in that same back and forth in this duality, like fight with yourself. And so there is still that energy that's very active. We are coming into an Aries full moon that also has some strong Chiron energy happening around us. And as in Aries, I can tell you Chiron has been effing with us since 2018 and it hasn't really gone. So it's not going anywhere yet. We still got a few more years. But as for where we are and what we have happening, what I'm seeing is I'm seeing like this dot to dot, like putting the piece together, or the dots, like it's starting to line up the dots. So we're starting to see an unfolding of something that's happening. And I kept calling this now in a whole lot of my channeled messages over the past few years. And I kept seeing, you're going to see people coming out in cuffs, like from big establishments, from big places. You're going to see an unfolding, like an exposure of a lot of this master manipulation energy that's been happening over the past few years. You may have heard me often speak of Jezebel energy. And when I pick up Jezebel energy, or I pick up like that Lucifer kind of energy, and what I'm picking up is that appears to be beautiful. It is the imposter light. And so we have a lot of imposter light, and we've had really an imposter syndrome within themselves, like really truly not knowing who they are, acting out of character for themselves. Probably a lot of friends, a lot of people in their lives, because they've been doing things that are out of character, not really who they were, not really who they are here to be, just in the sense of like being lost to this energy, almost not knowing who to be or how to behave. And just as I'm speaking of that, my internet says you have an unstable connection. Well, the whole world has an unstable connection. And that's where we are. So we're starting to, it's like almost like the Metatron energy is stepping in, and the Jesus energy that feels like not Jesus that would have walked before, but that beyond, so that Christ light, that rise, that preparing to rise again energy type of thing. So we are coming close to that Easter season as well. And so Easter's not bunnies and chocolate and colored little eggs. That's not what it's about. And so you're seeing that kind of like truth is rising or truth is coming out. So you may find that what's happening into the big world, our job is to bring it into us, bring it into our wee worlds, our own personal world. So when bringing that to you, is that what you look at what's happening outside of you, and then you bring it into you, is where have you done injustice to yourself? Where have you not been the kindest to yourself? Where have you been like, I'm selling yourself short? Where have you been in that master manipulator energy? Where have you lost people in your life because you have been so like invested or caught up in either wanting to be right or wanting the right things to be seen, and not trusting that the universe would do this for us, or that the realms outside of us would work on our behalf, and that things were happening. It may not be happening as quick as you would have liked, but it is happening. So in the meantime, you've lost your own inner peace, or you've never had it. Now you're trying to find your way into it. So there is the shift that's bringing us into being able to come back into a sense of our own inner peace, finding that sense of inner stability, inner peace, knowing that if we're at peace within ourselves, we can actually be of better service to the world that is not of peace, the world that is not yet going to be at peace. And so we are seeing, and one of my students, one of the people that I'm facilitating in the class that I'm facilitating, I don't want to call them students, they're not kids. It's like she said to me, the last time you were here teaching, you said that during this time that we would see something, and here we are back during this time that we're going to see something, like everyone is talking, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And I'm like, you watch and see. There is going to be something that is going to step in, that's going to be like almost like nobody's seen it come, because everybody fell into the narrative, everybody falls into the stories, and it's like that whole, what we think is that whole kind of doomsday energy, or that's we're waiting for something worse to come. Well, that's where kind of like the intervention, right? That intervention, something greater than us, something out of control. This may be Mother Earth. Last week's message I channeled through, and I predicted, because I kept hearing the wind in my ears, it was a tornado, and 3:44 in the a.m., the tornado hit in Texas, and that was exactly where I thought it was hitting. It's what it felt like to me, and it's exactly where it hit. Like, was in that, like, and I said, in that prayer, that it's not going to hit as hard. It's like, that's, we know it's coming, but that it will downgrade, or that it won't be as severe. And it did, like, it wasn't quite, I don't think it was quite as severe as it's supposed to be. Well, it's the same thing with this energy that I'm picking up, is that something of something is intervening, something is intercepting, something that is intercepting the energy. Now, whether or not that comes from the solar flares last night, that starts to disrupt the earth energy. But I see like something is breaking open. The earth is breaking open. Something is breaking open. We're breaking open. We're opening our hearts. We're letting our light shine. And we're really seeing like the fragility, fragility, fragility. We're seeing that vulnerable state. We're seeing the exposure of those that are imposter lights now crumbling, now falling apart. We've seen it live and in motion this week. And that's where Jezebel energy is. And Jezebel energy is in those big events, those big Oscar things. And so there's this imposter light. And it's almost like they had to pull it back in and rein it. Don't expose that yet. Don't let that be seen yet. And it's like it was like letting out. It was like losing control was almost as if it was like. And yes, I'm referring to the whole experience with Will Smith and all of that stuff that went on. But there were more happening. There was a lot more happening. And so there's something else, it's like, it's almost like it's almost like that energy of that Jezebel energy, that imposter light that's saying, we're almost there. We're almost winning. We're almost winning people over. We have almost got them sold. We've feared them in enough, and we've made them worship, this imposter light so much that it's almost, but it's like, oh, no, don't. There's something coming in over here that is greater than that. So whatever's in your fear that's trying to hold you, own you, whatever fear story is trying to, is trying to like get you to walk away from the things that you love, or walk away from the things that you want to do in life. I just feel like there's like this interception, this intercepting light that's coming in, and it's blocking you and just saying, it's like a reflection, and it's just saying, look into the light. look into your truth, look into what you really wanted, look into what you really wanted your life to be, look into how you wanted things to go. Are you really going to sacrifice yourself, sell yourself short? Are you really going to become like a lot of those people that sell their souls just to be famous? Are you just going to, it's like really truly pay attention, look deeper within yourself to see what else that you have happening within your world or around you that is taking you away from being, at that sense of peace with yourself. When we make the right decisions for the right choice, we are at peace. And when we're not, when we're holding it together, or we're playing the act, or we're playing out that identity we think we have to hold, or trying to hold together relationships that are not working, or things that we just want to keep holding on to, the attitude will expose itself. And that sense of you will crack, you will break, you'll be frustrated, you'll be angry, you'll act out in that way. And when you do, that kind of the shadow self's going, ha, I told you so. I knew this. And then you're like, see, that's just my self-prophecy, always setting myself up for failure, always setting myself up for things to happen. And it's like, don't let that head story, don't let that mind, don't let the ego, don't let that false light intimidate you or let you be led by fear anymore. And this is kind of where some of this shift is happening. We are seeing the shift and the change that's bringing that through. That is like, you're going to see exposure. And like I've said before, you're going to see them come. You're going to see a rest coming from big establishments or big places. You're going to see an ultimate exposure of a lot of things over the next few months. By September, it's going to be like, and ultimately, we're not done yet. And back, I think it was 2 years, year and a half ago, I did maybe it was a year ago, I recorded a prediction or a channeled message. And it was about, something about somebody in a higher power being attacked or something happening. And then there was the president of, I can't remember where, but who had been assassinated. And I'm like, I wonder if that was it. But I've still got that same feeling coming up. So I don't know where that feeling, I don't know what that feeling ties around. But I just feel like you're going to see in one of the countries where there is male in power, you're going to see female take power. And the female taking power may not be any better than the masculine. Maybe just it's another kind of imposter light. I don't think the real true leaders in many countries have yet appeared, but there will be a shift. So what we're being told is that we do have some closures coming up. So it's like there is going to be some closure, some endings coming into that before the new beginnings. We do have that new moon, which is about setting intentions. So, being pure in our own intentions and in our own thoughts, being and acting from a place of love and light within ourselves. It rises us up and above the behavior and the actions of the ones that are even trying to tell us what to do with our lives. And it takes us to that place to be above our own issues and problems so that we can see where we may be having our own moment of fall from grace, when we're allowing the fear or where we have allowed ourselves to be and half-assing our own truest of self. We're not fully being there. And so being aware of that. So we also have, and this is coming up because I was speaking about like that Jesus energy. And here's the, here, if you look here at her right here, you see that infinity loop right here. Well, if we turn it, then it'll be the 8. This also ties into that Christ-like energy that I speak of, the Jesus energy. So that's also coming up here again. And I just feel like it's like, this is boundaries and just knowing that, see, this is about your inner peace. That's our big thing this week, is find your place back to center so that you can make peace with where you've been, make peace with the people that you've made your enemy that's not your enemy, make peace with your, all the places that you have lost the aspects of self, your truth, and return to that sense of being more balanced and centered, and put trust in that something is interesting something is intervening, something is bringing about change, something is going to shift. And of course, things do get a little tough. Things get a little worse before they get better. So we are into that. We call this, almost all of us spiritual teachers and spiritual, channelers and stuff. We've all been calling this. We've been saying all the 2022. We didn't say it's going to be easy. We said it's going to be the dismantling. So there is the dismantling of all of those stories. And there is going to be some real humbling for a very narcissistic leader that appears to be in a very democratic country. So there will be a massive humbling that will take place. And I have to say, Canada. but there will be something, I don't know how, I don't know where, but it's like, I feel like that may be in this year. We have the closure. We're not old paths. So we're walking away from that bullshit. We're walking away from our own ego, from our own behaviors, our own actions that you didn't even know sometimes was happening, but you just got caught up. And we're returning to our true life purpose as humanity. And that is for us to become the best human beings that we can be, so that we can do all the right things for all the right reasons. And we're not going to get it all right, don't get me wrong. But the narrative of the so-called new world and this whole so-called, we are evolving. There's no doubt. We are coming into a time of change. We are going to go through that. But many of the things that has been pushed up on us, no matter how much money is invested and involved, it's like there's still something greater. And I always call it the little ants. The ants are at work. And, the everyday people are like ant colonies. You can't see how many there are. The ones that are up on top that are full of shit, sorry, that are on top of that are just kind of trying to push the narrative. They are way less in number than the everyday person. And you're just going to see that unfold in a way of just that coming. We see it in little bits and pieces, but we're going to see it in a larger number somehow in the coming months. See, and reconciliation. So you're going to be making up or making peace also with some friends, some family members, some people that's been in your life, where I feel like this new moon begins bringing back, restoring love, restoring strong bonds and connections that somehow got distorted, lost, static energy got in, that Jezebel kind of energy, that imposter light kind of energy got in. And the Lucifer, that choice that we make to take ourselves into a personal hell instead of heaven. And we're seeing that bring back, and the spirit guides are just here. They're telling us that we were never alone. We were never left alone. It's like, it looks like we were left to our own devices, and we were like children, toddlers running around, and we didn't know how to be adults. And that was, and by we, I don't mean every one of us. I mean the collective energy out there. See, little kids. And so there's this energy. Is like, that's what looks like they should have been adults, and that's what it's been acting like. So they've left us to our own devices. Let us just be that. But what we're being told now, there is a shift in luck. It's funny because one of my ladies mentioned this morning a black cat. And here's the black cat again. Here's that good luck. It's like all superstitions, all fear stories that's been fed to us. We're starting to find out that many of the internet connections unstable. I go to talk with a certain thing that happens. And so this is saying, the good luck, no matter what they try to tell us, no matter how much they try to turn people into bad people in your life, is like we're starting to see beyond some of that bullshit, and good luck is on our way to us. Our own free will is what rises up, that we have the willpower, the strength, and the courage to set ourselves free, to uncage ourselves, because we are awakening with our third eye energy, and we have this rising up that we are starting to see. Our eyes lie to us. Just because we see something doesn't mean there's something more that is happening, something more that's unfolding. And it's a sense of our inner peace, so that we can be at peace, so that we can see things through the eyes of a loving way of seeing it. It's like, how's that serving us, right? And so these cards are coming from the Spellcast Oracle. So there has been a spell. There's been a spell that was kind of casted that released Jezebel energy. And so this is by, I can't even read who this is by. Whoever you are. So Fleva Kate Peters and Barbara Melkocham Free. Sorry, I'm butchering the names, but that's the oracle cards. But there was a spell that was kind of placed and released up on kind of the higher energies, like almost it was put into the establishments a few years ago, but it's like that spell is being broken and a new spell of love and light. Like this is a good spell that's coming in, that's setting us free, and that we are stepping more and more, and we're going to be embodying that rainbow energy. And if you've noticed, we're seeing lots and lots of rainbows, like all winter long. I see rainbows everywhere all the time, and because we do have new beginnings coming in, and we are opening up new portals and new doors and new beginnings. So you're going to see the shift, because ultimately we are protected. The light will always be more strong, more powerful than the dark. Remember that. So it's more powerful than our darkest days inside of ourselves. Is that if we're in a low point, the low points in light, your most defining moments. They're that moments that give you the opportunity. You got one way to go, and that's up. And that's the way we got to go. We have one way to go, and we are going up. We are rising, we are ascending, we're growing, we're opening our eyes, we're opening our heart. And when all of this opens us wide open, everything is going to be broken wide open. And we turn on the lights, and the lights come on from the light. It'll be amazing what you will see. We've all calling for so long, and you're going to see these shifts and changes happening. So you're feeling it within inside of yourself. You're feeling that call to make amends, to make peace, to be more at peace. To, you know, it takes a big person to call up somebody who you love dearly, that you've been had yourself divided because of these differences of opinions, and just say, you know what, I'm sorry. Or I let this get between us. How is it that we could have a different political view, or we could have different, different ways that we see the world before all of this, and we could still be friends and neighbors? And then all of a sudden somebody tells us we're enemies, and we believe it. Somebody tells us that we have this neighbor hates us, or we have this divide, and we believe it, and we fall for it. Think about that. And so this is the beginning of the whole, allowing ourselves to look deeper, see deeper, feel deeper. And when we feel deeper, sometimes it hurts to feel deeper, but love, sometimes that energy has that it's not always going to be an easy way out, but it's going to be the way that takes us into the most joyful, happy kind of return. So it's not all done. Much love and compassion for those who are in war-torn countries, who are struggling, and are fighting every day, and they are in truth. That's true fear. That's real true fear. That's the fear that, we can't walk in their shoes if we're sitting in a safe home, in a safe place, and we don't know. But how can we help? How can we be of service? And we do the things to help in the ways that we can, whether it's volunteering, whether it's donating. But my heart goes out to all the people. And war never stopped. It's just the wars that come in that are more pronounced, or that we see on a war happening all the time in many countries. It hasn't stopped. It hasn't ended. And it's time for us, when we stop being at war with ourselves, when we stop being at each other, then we will see a lot less war happening in the world. And that is always the goal, the dream, the hope, is that we can stop being at war with ourselves, stop being at war with our past, stop being at war with each other, and to step into a place of peace, freedom. And so, that's a lot of the message that we have for this week. So there is this new spell energy that I feel like is of love and light, it would take time. Everything takes time to restore, to kind of finish the dismantling. So there's still a process happening, but April may be the worst of the months. May start to bring some change. Now we have a lot of things that need to be fixing and healing, but this is praying and sending love and light out that we can come into a place of healing and resolutions, resolving, clearing and freeing and making peace. Much love. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you all next week. And next week I'll be in a new home because I'm also moving on Friday, April the 1st. I moved to a new home, so getting the keys to open the door to a new home that I wasn't expecting to have to do, wasn't in my plans, and yeah, unexpected move. So yeah, that's what my Friday will be, and all happening on my birthday, which is also on April Fool's Day. So you just never know what's in store for us. Love, have a beautiful week, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. And hopefully back in live before then. Oh, please remember to go to my website, CorrieThorne.com. You can subscribe to get into my monthly channel, to get my monthly group message and group meditation. You can subscribe there. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Have a beautiful day. Bye.